Mark Herman, aka LA Bengal fan, on most of the major platforms, and I am joined as always by Sam Snyder of Primetime Sports Talk. Sam, tell them where they can find all your stuff.
Oh, of course, you can find me on Twitter at Buy and Sell You, and I also write for Primetime, like Mark said. You can find us at Talk Primetime on Twitter.
Well, there you go. So today was a tough one, and we're going to go over it. Obviously, we're going to do our typical recap where we talk about the good and the bad, and we're going to talk about the bad first. I just want to ask you before we get started, when we were spotted this huge lead, was there any part of you, as a Bengal fan, that actually thought we were going to run away with this game?
Absolutely not.
Thank you. All right, I just want to make sure that we were all in the same mindset, because we had basically the perfect start to a game, and I said, great, this will be a typical Bengal loss in that we play the other team back in, and our coaches followed suit, did exactly what I expected. But as a Bengal fan, we're so scarred psychically by what we've been through in our lifetimes that at no point do you're up 21-0 and you're still like, yeah, great, let's see what ways we come up with to lose this game. And sure enough, here we go. So
right. I don't think obviously I didn't think we were going to run away with the game. I didn't necessarily know that we would lose the game, but I said when we were up 21-0, I was like, still going to be close. I mean, I was getting texts like, this is great. This is great. And I was excited too. We all were, but I was like, let's
left.
Pump the brakes a little bit, because it's going to get closer. And frankly, Phillip Rivers thrives in a coming from behind environment.
Lots of people. I play better golf when I'm in a match and I'm playing from behind than I do when I'm
so absolutely.
It's just how you focus. But all right.
Well, how was your we're recording?
You know what?
We're recording on time. So
yeah, no, we're a little later, but yeah, no, we're recording. I watched the game live. I saw the whole thing. I lost 1-0. It was a back and forth match. I had my moments. Just didn't make the shots at the right time and lost a close one. And that's what happens. I had a chance to, I had 2 birdies and I think 5 or 6 pars. I mean, the match went back and forth. No one ever had more than a 2-hole lead. I had the 2-hole lead, which I gave back. So like I said, I play better from behind.
It's a damn shame, because I teased you down to 3 birdies and it didn't hit. But seriously, I mean, what you just said was kind of a microcosm of the game today.
Oh yeah, no, exactly.
A couple birdies and a couple pars, but
21-0 in a game.
That's not good enough to win.
That's like 21-0 in a game is like me being up 5 or 6 holes and blowing it. So right. When you're up 3 touchdowns, but let's get through the bad. The tackling was not as good today. Bates missed some tackles. The first drive of the first play of the game to Jonathan Taylor had like 3 or 4 missed tackles. And the announcer said, Taylor's only broken 3 tackles all season long. And he broke more than 3 on the very first time he touched the ball. So that was a bad. The right side of the line, still a problem. We had a couple penalties. We had Redmond commit a false start and then miss a block, and Burrow got sacked, and that was on consecutive plays. And we feed Gio the ball and he goes to run by the right side, and you're looking at a 5-yard loss. I just was the same thing. And then I'm going to harp on this. I harped on it for years with Marvin as a coach. I'm going to harp on this all the time. Our last 2 minutes of a half, we just can't seem. The last 2 minutes of a half, we cannot act like a team that knows what they're doing out there. I 1,000% blame the coaches for that. We talked about the prevent defense. We've talked about a lot of things, but the 2 minutes of this half, like the whole second quarter, just drove me nuts today.
I think one of my biggest issues today, and I didn't talk to anybody else about it, is how I feel about the prevent defense. I feel like we went to it after we were up 21-0.
Yes.
Like that's usually reserved for the very, very end of the half and the very, very end of the game. We spent the entire second quarter either in the prevent or a soft zone with the DBs all dropping back. And it just,
It prevents you from winning. The prevent defense prevents you from winning. It's that
well,
simple. Whenever you go to it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's playing not to lose,
right,
instead of playing to win.
Yes.
And at that point, when we were up 21-0, our defense had played very well. The line could have got into Rivers a lot more. But it's not like, Taylor wasn't killing us. He was running well, but he wasn't killing us. I think he ended up with like 60 yards rushing and 55 receiving, something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe vice versa.
Carries for 60 yards.
Yes, 60 yards rushing, 55 receiving.
Right.
But it's not like he was killing us. And it was just upsetting to see us go up 21-0 and drop back, because a lot of other coaches would say, nah, keep after it.
Yes.
Let's put this thing away, man. Let's put it away in the first half.
Let's use the right words. Most good coaches. See, that's the thing. I am quickly losing. I've said it before, but it's almost gone.
This is the Mark Herman broken record take of the day. Go for it, Mark.
I've completely lost faith in this coaching staff. I don't like their play calling. I think we did exactly what you said. We played not to lose, which means you will never win. When you putt in golf, not to miss, you will miss 100% of the time. You have to putt to make it. And I felt like that's what we did. We did not pressure Philip Rivers. He had 235 yards in the second quarter. I think they said, I'm not sure, but I think that was the biggest second quarter of his career.
17 years.
Yeah, 17 years. That was the biggest quarter of his career. He threw for 235 yards, and we played him right back into the game instead of continuing to do what we do. We played them right back into the game. When we pressured Rivers, we got him to make bad decisions. We got him to force the ball that Bates intercepted. But we didn't do that enough. The other thing I put down here, which was funny, I thought you would like this, is I said Rivers is faster than Covington. There was a play where Rilla, 90-year-old guy, trying to run towards the sidelines, and Covington isn't making up any ground on him. Now let's flip the script. Gio goes through the hole, and Buckner chases him down from behind. Okay, that's the difference. So when we think about what did we lose with Reader, what did we lose with not having a Geno Atkins, that's 100%, because he came in sparingly, but he does not an impact at all. Is that speed? But Covington, I swear, watching him try to chase down Rivers, I was like, Rivers is faster or as fast as Covington. That's not a good thing.
I mean, it's doubly impressive when you consider that the 90-year-old Rivers has to pull his oxygen tank behind him. As he runs.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And Covington still couldn't catch up with him. But yeah, the line was a problem today, but not the way that we expected. We expected to be getting gashed in the middle.
Right.
But the official stats and snap counts haven't come out. But from what I've seen, I mean, Geno Atkins didn't show up in the box score.
No.
Covington played, to be fair, a pretty decent game.
Oh, absolutely.
And Xavier Williams had 3 tackles, 1 assist. He covered up the fumble that Boyd lost.
Right.
And he had he also had 1 sack. And I think that was our only sack, or maybe it. But so Xavier Williams did good, so that's encouraging. But I agree with you. I mean, the line was not great, and we talked so much on Thursday about Dunlap and Lawson coming in on the edges on an immobile quarterback, and it just never happened.
Yeah, no, we didn't get any pressure. That was the thing. I thought that times where we got pressure, it wasn't with the front 4. We had to send extra guys. But at least with Rivers, you don't have to worry about him even getting outside if you just send pressure up the middle. I mean, he's like when we should employ the same game plan we did when we played Flacco all the time. That's my feeling.
I think it baffles me a little bit that, well, I mean, on one hand, look, the Colts have maybe the best offensive line in the NFL. And that's a luxury that we can only possibly dream of. They have one of the best offensive lines, but I still expected the guys on the edge to get around to force Rivers to step up and allow guys like Geno and Williams and Covington to make a play. But the guys on the edge just never got around. It just never came to fruition.
No, and we need to, but that's, once again, I'm going to harp back on the coachings. We need to dial up pressure in certain situations. We didn't do that for basically the end of the first quarter and all the way through the second, including the last 2 minutes of the half. We basically played not to lose, and we played them right back into the game. So instead of going into the locker room with a large lead, we went into the locker room with a 24-21 lead. Okay. Right? So, yep. I mean, it was just a 3-point lead, and that's not going to get it done. We played them back into the game. So I absolutely hated the play calling. I also have down here that, Burton and Doyle and the backs out of the backfield, we knew they were going to be problems for us. Von Bell misplayed a couple plays today. He had some nice plays, but he also misplayed a couple. And then I put down, and goes back to the coaching staff, Reich makes adjustments. We said Frank Reich's a good coach. They made adjustments. They got back into the game. What did we do? We were gifted. When we got up to that big lead, penalties, turnovers, I mean, we got all the help we could from the Colts. We turned them into points, but then we kind of decided that the game's over. It's only going to be a quarter and a half football game. We've already got it in the bag. It just kind of drove me nuts. And the last thing I'm going to say, I just want to remind everybody, because I have this in the bag column. Does anybody remember the time where Andy Dalton hit A.J. Green in Atlanta at the very end of the game for the game winner, and we beat Atlanta in 2018? That's our last road win. That's September of 2018. They reminded us of that today, and I thought, I remember that game. So,
right.
But that's what I have in the bad. And like I said, I hang a lot of this on our coaches because they were gift wrapped, a big lead, and gave it away.
Yeah, and even that last thing, I mean, it feels like ancient history, even though it was only, not even 2 years ago. Obviously, we had a terrible season last year. The Von Bell thing is interesting because he's going to get a lot of grief this week, I think. But I think it's worth noting that Von Bell wasn't brought in to be a safety over the top. Right. He was brought in to be that safety in the box that stops the run. Look, you can look at any Von Bell scouting report and it'll say that in the zone, the ball's going over his head. He can't catch up with people. And I'm not excusing him. It's just on plays like that you mentioned, it sucks. He had a couple.
Coaches, you're supposed to scheme up to play to your players' strengths and cover up their weaknesses. So, right. Like I said, that's why I blame a lot of the play calling, especially in the second quarter and late in the game. I just didn't like the defensive play calling at all. I think we hampered our own defense by calling a bad game.
Right. Well, it was a lot of prevent defense, like we said, and if it wasn't prevent, then it was a lot of soft zone. Which is just as bad, really. Right. All it means is all your D-backs all drop way down deep, and then you're just like crossing your fingers on the line and the linebackers. But that's my one bad thing. Well, not my one, but you covered the others. The biggest bad thing I had was our secondary was really bad today across the board. I mean, Bates came up with that interception, but he was inconsistent.
Yes.
William Jackson had a great first quarter and then a horrible 3 quarters.
Right.
Von Bell gets the ball thrown over his head. Darius Phillips, again, like I said last week, apparently can't turn around to see where the ball is and just runs down the field, going boogie, woogie, hoping that the wide receiver will miss the pass. The secondary was bad, and the only reason it hasn't been exposed to this point is because everybody knows that we are susceptible to the run.
Right.
So even when we talked on Thursday, Mark, when you brought up, that our pass defense was like, in the late teens, like 15, 16, 17,
right.
whatever. I missed the opportunity to say, well, that's because everybody just knows they can run. Like they're not even bothering to throw the ball. But so secondary was really bad today. I generally do not dislike Anarumo's schemes. So I don't know who to be mad at about the prevent defense, because we started it in the second. We did it for a large chunk of the third and pretty much all of the fourth to make sure that the game didn't get out of hand. So I don't know if that was Anarumo's call or if Zach said, let's play the prevent. I have no idea, and I probably will never know.
No.
All I know is it was a bad way to go.
No, it was, and it's just hard to watch. This team's so hard to be a fan of. So, because we have these conversations, you were talking about how ancient the AJ Green catch against Atlanta in 2018 seemed. You know what seems ancient to me? The 21-0 lead we had. I mean, it's just like, It's like so bad. It's like, were we leading real big in this game? Because by halftime, you and I were already, I was texting you going, wow, they're going to hit the over by halftime.
Yeah.
They came pretty darn close to it. So I think it was 46.5 was the over for the game, and they were at 45 at half. So you just it was ancient news, and things could not have gone better for them. And they still, with everything that was gifted to them, the coaches couldn't bring this one home. Like I said, I have zero faith in the staff. Somebody, and I'm just going to throw this out there, somebody commented, and you can please feel free to comment on any of these things that we talk about, but said, Minnesota looked horrible today in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And maybe, one of my dreams, if we don't clear out this staff and go after Eric Bieniemy, one of my dreams would be they fire Zimmer and we get Zimmer back. But because
it's not going to happen.
I know, because Minnesota's smart enough not to fire Zimmer. That's realize they made a bad deal with Cousins and they'll keep Zimmer. But that's just a small little, you allow me to have a little dream, okay? That's
well, you said that so many. You said that so many. Allow me to dream.
Just have that dream.
Said that so many times. I mean, the problem is that Zimmer's going to get a head coaching gig somewhere, and we're a franchise that is not known for firing our head coach.
No.
So for anybody that's watching this, if you think Zach Taylor's going anywhere, check yourself. It's not. It's just not happening.
I know.
I don't know what to tell you. And if it does, like this season, I swear to God, I will eat this hat. Screenshot it, bookmark it, do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
I will eat this hat with a knife and fork. If
knife and fork. Zach Taylor I'm going to remember
2020.
That's in the brain now.
It's
a hat. So
it's here. Well, my girlfriend will like it because she doesn't like it when I wear a hat in these things anyway.
You look at the tweets that went out Friday, there was stuff going on. I've heard some things that I can't say, but you've heard some things. We all have. There's issues in the locker room. And when some of the ancillary players, the good ones don't go to Twitter. Okay, but they're the ones that things are happening to in the locker room. The ancillary players, the outliers, are the ones that go to Twitter and speak. And you had a lot of stuff going on Friday that tells you there's stuff murmuring in this locker room. And this can't do anything but help further that, because they were, like I said, we were gifted this lead, and I really feel like the coaches just blew it. So, but
yeah, I agree. And I'll just tack on to that real quick. Yeah, the ancillary players. I can't even say that word.
Ancillary.
Sean Williams started it, and I don't know what he's complaining about because he's on the field for about 76% of the snaps. Darius Phillips jumped on it and agreed, and he's on the field for well over 70% of the snaps. Jermaine Pratt just agreed with it. I don't know if that's giving credence to it or not. And there was one more, I can't remember who, but you're absolutely right. It's the guys that really should not be upset that are bringing it up. But you and I both have sources that we talk to.
There's other stuff going on.
Yeah.
Veteran players that's doing this.
Yeah. We cannot, divulge those.
No, but I'm just saying.
Now. But it's not awesome. It's
No.
not awesome.
Anytime you have this, you're and the team. I got to give the players credits with everything that I think's going on in the locker room. They still came out and gave an effort today. They really did. And let's get to the good, because that's it. I thought that Mixon ran with purpose. I thought that Gio ran with purpose. I like the fact that we ran Bernard on a third down, play that was a passing play when we got the touchdown with him. And that was our first. That's our first fast start of the season. But that was also our first touchdown on an opening drive. The Colts hadn't allowed one. We hadn't scored one, so we kind of got rid of that. Burrow got rid of the ball quicker. He was seeing the field better. He made a couple rookie mistakes today, but overall, I felt that Burrow was seeing the field better and played a much better game. We've just got to get him. He had Mixon underneath to keep the chains moving, and he went for Green on the longer pass. And I don't fault Green. Green had a very good game. I put down here, welcome to 2020, AJ Green. He had a very good game. Came through with some really clutch catches, but that was one where Burrow needs to go underneath and keep the sticks moving. And you and I talked about this. First half we won 2 reviews, and we also both Indianapolis lost their challenge, and I was
3.
like,
we won 3.
Right, this is bizarre.
Oh, maybe the
bizarre
third
world. Like I said,
maybe the third
in the first quarter.
Maybe the third was in the third quarter, but we won 3 reviews, and I was like, first of all, I was like, this is ridiculous. Second of all, as a Bengal fan, my first feeling was, oh, that means we're screwed. Yeah. Like we're gonna get screwed later by this.
That's why I asked you in the beginning, was at any point did you feel like you were comfortable? And it's like, even at 21-0, you weren't comfortable, because we're Bengal fans. That's how we're trained to feel. And I talked about Bates missing tackles, but did come up with the pick. I mean, he had an up and down game, but overall, I was happy with what I saw out of Burrow. And I was happy with when we used the pass to set up the run, we ran much more effectively. The problem is we got the lead and we stopped doing that. We started handing the ball to Mixon. Once again, go behind, Redmond to the promised land, which we've said is never going to happen. We started just trying to, instead of getting it out, doing all the things that we need to do, we stopped doing that. And then even on that critical third down where we end up having Bullock try the field goal, which he doinks off the upright, I hated the handing it to the up back and thinking he was going to sneak through for the first down. I hated that call. I absolutely hate it. I mean, it's just, once again, you're asking. We got.
Are you talking about the Samaje Perine play?
Yes, I am talking about that.
The one single carry that he got, which I think is the only one so far this season. Like, we're fooling anybody. Bring in that guy that never actually plays.
Cold off the bench, hand in the ball, and expect him to make the big play.
And the defense is like, well, who's that guy? Block that guy. That guy's going to get the ball.
Doink. I was like I said, I just shake it. Asking players to do what they're not capable of doing. When we got any kind of a push from our offensive line, it was because they were expecting the pass. That's how we did it. We used the pass to set up the run, and then we went away from that. We went right back to our old habits of, here, maybe something will happen. Opening the fridge for the beer that's not there. Like I said in the last video, that just kind of drove me nuts. But I did like the effort we got out of Mixon today. I did like he runs with such purpose, and I like the effort we got out of Gio. I thought the receivers played well. I thought AJ played well, and Burrow, outside of a couple rookie mistakes, he's got to not force the ball to Boyd late in the game. Just live to play another down.
Yeah, I think Burrow's issue is, and anybody that's watching these videos knows that I'm a big fan, and I've been touting him quite a bit. I've noticed even in his good games, he does have a habit to stare down his receiver. And that's a rookie thing. A lot of rookies do that. You know what I mean? Because the NFL game is so much faster than college. So when a play is called, who you're really probably going to go for. So it's hard to not stare him down. It's hard to not put it all in slow motion and look off a guy, even though you're going to the other guy. So, I got a lot of, like I said earlier, a lot of messages about, well, Burrow did what he could. And I was like, well, he didn't do what he could on that last interception. That wasn't
Right.
very good. It was pretty obvious that it wasn't a good throw. But I'm going to piggyback on one or two things that you just mentioned. It was great to see AJ get 11 targets.
Yes.
He had eight catches for 96 yards, and extremely quietly, T. Higgins had 8 targets. He caught 6 of them for 125 yards.
Well, he had that big one for 55 where he got behind the DB.
But even besides that, you're talking 5 for 70. That I mean, that's an okay game.
Right.
And Gio, for anybody out there that keeps saying you need to trade Gio and save the salary or whatever, I'm here to tell you, Mixon was there was a little concern about his foot injury.
Right.
He left. We got a whole drive out of Gio. He wasn't amazingly efficient. I think Mixon had like 3.2 yards a carry, and Gio had like 3 yards a carry.
18 for 54 for Mixon.
Yeah, and Gio was 8 for 15,
right?
And which is just under 2, but he scored that TD and he looked good doing it. And it's tough sledding against a defense like that.
Right.
But I agree with you. Mixon's effort was great. And again, I'll bring back to Thursday when we did this preview. This is a team in the Indianapolis Colts that has only allowed 1 rushing touchdown this entire season. Well, all 3 of our touchdowns today were on the ground. We got 1 from Mixon, we got 1 from Gio, we got 1 from Burrow.
Yeah.
Not passing. So, I mean, if you're looking for silver linings, that's pretty good that we can still say, and I thought the offensive line wasn't terrible. I apologize for going off on a tangent. I thought the offensive line actually played well today. One of the better games they played this season. And it's evidenced by the fact that, that we were able to get our running backs into the end zone.
Yeah. No, today was my biggest beef was the defensive play calling. That was my biggest beef. And it continued throughout the game. I just, like I said, I thought we went into a shell and tried to not lose. And you will lose. Anytime you go into that as your strategy, you will lose 100% of the time.
Yep. You got to play to win. Got to play to win.
So, all right. My friend Heath always says, the Bengals do just enough to get you coming back. See, they keep the game just close enough. So they are 5-1 against the spread, but this one still, and I don't buy into the moral victories. And it drives me absolutely nuts. Watch Zach Taylor's press conference and you get that little, Wally, leave it to Beaver kind of grin and, oh yeah, almost, gee golly, gee whiz. And I don't buy into any of that crap.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess
that little schoolboy, we'll leave it to Beaver stuff played in the first season when you were a rookie coach and you were just trying, but now I'm just like, you got to coach.
Well, you have to remember, Mark, though, that as Bengals fans, we're used to that because that was Marvin Lewis's MO for 11 years? I mean, that's what he did.
Doesn't mean I liked it.
He always did that.
Then I don't like it now.
He always did the, yeah, well, we got to play better.
Oh, yeah, he always come up.
And it was, we'll get him next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing well, not the only thing, but the thing that really perturbed me is it's just the same stuff that I used to say about Andy Dalton. I used to want Andy Dalton to get fired up and get pissed off when something went wrong. Right. And it didn't happen until his last season last year. I want to see Zach Taylor get pissed off. I want to see him pissed off in a press conference. I want him to say, this is not right. This is not good. I mean, today, the soundbite that drove me the most crazy was he said, we're trending in the right direction. I disagree.
I disagree too.
I was not expecting to make the playoffs. I was hoping for a 5-win season this year. I think we still could get that.
Right.
But after a loss like this, where you completely blow it, I mean, completely blow it.
Yes.
To say we're trending in the right direction. My only question is, well, what direction is that?
Yeah. What, are you handing out participation medals in the locker room? Hey, good effort. I just.
Are we trending in the right direction as in we play good and then just give up the lead and lose the game?
If
Is
we were
that the
trending in the
direction?
right direction, you would not have seen what went down Friday on Twitter. We would not be hearing the stories we're hearing about what's going on in the locker room. We wouldn't be
Right.
hearing those things because I truly believe that he is losing the team. I really do. I'm
Well,
not.
this was
And this is going to feed into that, and we're going to see a lot of that talk this week. So
yeah. Well,
um,
this was not a game that neither you or I think many Bengals fans expected to win. We talked about the schedule and how hard it is for these 4 games,
right.
and then we're going to play some people that we should beat. As long as we beat most of the people we should beat, it was Washington,
Washington, Giants, Miami. We have that stretch with the
Washington Giants,
Giants, Miami, Dallas. We have those 4
and
games.
Dallas. Dallas, yeah, maybe or maybe not. But yeah, those first 3 are teams that we should beat. Now,
Right.
if we don't win, over half of those games in that 4-game stretch, if we don't go like 3-1, then I'll break down and I'll join the consensus of being upset about Zach Taylor.
I'm going to hold you to that.
You can't. But
I'm going to hold you to that.
I'll take it.
Okay.
But we got to keep in mind, we didn't expect to win this game. I don't think we expect to win any of the next 3 games.
No.
Everybody needs to be still just a little patient. I mean,
when you are gifted what we were gifted, the Colts literally gift wrapped the fumble with Doyle, penalty after penalty after penalty, the grabbing Gio and dumping him on his head to extend the drive. I mean, the Colts were aided us.
Oh yeah, I wrote down suplex on my notes for the Gio.
Well, he'll be getting that. There's a FedEx envelope from the league on Tuesday at his locker.
Sure.
They said the league sends out these FedEx envelopes and they get delivered on Tuesday and they get set right at the player's locker. And it's basically saying, get your checkbook out, son. Or if you're going to be suspended, that's where you find out. But there will be a FedEx envelope for picking Gio up and dumping him on his head. I'm surprised it didn't get a discussion as to whether or not he should get tossed. When you do that to a player. I really was. It's us, so they're not going to do that, but the league will definitely follow up. They have to. I
agree.
They watch every play, and that's one that's going to get an envelope sent.
I want to throw one thing in there real quick, Mark, that I forgot about when I was talking about the stats earlier. Not only did AJ Green have 11 targets, 8 catches, 96 yards, but on one play, with about 10 and a half to go in, I think the 4th, Burrow hit him on the sideline and he had a toe drag. And I was like, that's AJ.
Right.
That's AJ right there. If he's actually turning the corner and he can bring back that kind of stuff. And I know I've been hard on him. I was mostly hard on him just as a business decision.
Right.
I want AJ to do as well as everybody else does. You know what I mean?
Right.
But man, he had that toe drag that they reviewed it. He had the toe drag on the sideline. They said, yes, it's a catch. And I was like, man, that was AJ right there. And it was vintage Chad Johnson too. He looked so much like him. But I was like, man, if we get more of that, then yeah, I'm here for it.
Oh, yeah. No, I said the last time, I'm still holding out hope. He's got his franchise number. I don't begrudge him any of that money because I think he's earned that entire paycheck. Just who he's been. He's never pulled an Antonio Brown on us or done anything like that. He has just been a great teammate, a great locker room presence. He's made it obviously known that he wants to be a Bengal for life. He wants to stay in Cincinnati. And if there's any way we can keep him and he could come on in the second half of this year and develop some chemistry, absolutely. I want to keep him in the fold and I want to keep him on this team this year and see what happens for the next half of the season. So
100%. Anybody that wants to, I mean, with the history of this team, you know, in our inconsistency and our up and down and trying to talk free agents to come in and trying to talk our players not to leave without not offering them, you know, enough money. So they're like, no, I'm out anyway. Anybody that is a Bengals lifer that says they want to be a Bengals lifer, I'm like, sign that guy.
Right.
You know, I mean, we can sit here and talk about Whitworth or somebody all day, of course,
Yeah.
but we don't have that kind of time.
No, we don't. I got into an interesting discussion with Ace earlier this week over on New Stripe City, whose show you should catch. He and Zem kill it. The Hugh interview, the
Yeah,
AJ interview are amazing. Different type of show than ours, but they kill it. And
yeah, Mark, it's Ace Boogie on Twitter, isn't it?
I don't know what his Twitter handle is.
I'll look it up.
New
You
Stripe
talk.
City, but he and I were talking, and I told him, I said, we have not recovered from the Agbuehi Fisher draft picks and then letting Witt walk. We are still feeling the ramifications of that, thinking that we had our tackles situation sewn up and we let our best locker room leader leave. And then, so I said, we're still reeling from that. So, but that's a complete side note. We were talking about the
you can find Ace Boogie on Twitter at New Stripe City. Right. They've got a great show. He's a great dude. You guys should absolutely check him out. Yeah. And hopefully we'll be able to do some kind of thing with them. Maybe we'll do a little cross promotion. But anybody that's watching right now, New Stripe City on Twitter, look for Ace Boogie. He's got
New Stripe City on YouTube. He does Orange is the New Black, his show. He and Zim kill it, and he's got some great interviews. Go back and watch the Hugh Jackson. Go back and watch the AJ Green interviews. They were fabulous.
You won't be disappointed. You won't be disappointed.
And subscribe to this channel. I keep forgetting to ask you guys, but that's all we ask for is subscribers. So please, if you're not subscribing, please subscribe to this channel.
Hey, Mark, are we asking for money?
No. All we ask for is subscriptions.
We're not asking for money.
They're not asking for money. Just subscribe to this channel. That's all we ask. So we have the Browns coming up. It's another tough game. We will preview it Thursday night. We'll put up a preview video as always. Go through what we're feeling good about and what we're not feeling good about.
I'm feeling good about a win in that one.
I'm hoping our best chance were these two. I thought today's game would be a low scoring game, so we might have a shot at pulling off the upset. And then when I saw it being a shootout, I felt less good about it. But
right.
But especially knowing our coaches. But
I feel good about the Browns, but we'll talk about that on Thursday.
We'll see. We're going to save that for Thursday, so we will talk then. Once again, tell them where they can find all your stuff.
Absolutely. Twitter, buy and sell you. I write for Primetime Sports Talk, which is at Talk Primetime or primetimesportstalk.com.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to say hoo day, everybody. We are going to enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Hopefully we get a good nighttime game, and I know I'm going to watch the second half of the Tampa Bay Green Bay game right now. So with that, we will see you Thursday night. Take care, everybody.
Hoo day.
Hoo day.